Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Creating Visual Infographics with Microsoft PowerPoint webinar. My name is Gloria, and I'll be your presenter today. Did you know that the human brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text? That's why infographics are such a powerful way to communicate complex data and ideas. In this presentation, I will show you how to create beautiful infographics using PowerPoint, a tool that you probably already have on your computer. Before we get into it, we'll talk about a couple of things. First of all, we are using Zoom as our platform. So at the moment, all the lines are muted. So you need to communicate by typing your message in the chat. So if you have any problems or any issues whatsoever, Mel is on hand to assist. Mel is our fantastic producer, so she's ready to help us with any issues that we might have. So just type your message in the chat and Mel will be able to see it and to attend to it. If you happen to leave the meeting inadvertently, just reconnect using the link that was sent to you. And if you joined via phone, just redial the phone number to just get back into the meeting. Don't feel that you need to take any extensive notes for the webinar. This video will be made available, or a recording of this video will be made available on our YouTube channel. So at the end, you'll get an email with the link to this video on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch it over and over again. We also have a question and answer session right at the end, so you can ask me any questions that you might have right at the end of the sessions. If we are not able to get to your question, then we will send your answer in the email that we send right at the end of the webinar. You also get a cool handout summarizing what we'll learn today. So who are we? Who is Great Canadian Training? Well, we a training company that provides training services across North America. We have over 20 years of experience training people. So we offer great customer service. We offer both software and professional skills training. We do public classes and private classes. All our classes are live instructor-led. That means that we do them, we always have an instructor that allows you to ask any questions or ask for any concepts to be repeated. And I like that because it creates an interactive training environment, excuse me, which promotes learning. So we also offer coaching and consulting services and custom database and app development. We offer a couple of different things, but what I love about our services are that we have a public class schedule that is guaranteed to run. So all our classes will run. It doesn't matter if it's just one person who's enrolled for the class, that class will definitely run. And we also offer something that makes us unique. We offer 24/7 after training support for all software training and professional skills training. So it's something to take note of. A little bit about me. My name is Gloria, and I am a software instructor with Great Canadian. I've been working in computers for about 8 years now, and I enjoy showing people how computers can improve their lives. In my spare time, I am a part-time florist and makeup artist. So what is in store for today's webinar? Well, first we'll talk about what an infographic is. We'll define the word infographic. Then we'll talk about 4 key design tools that we can use, tools we can find in PowerPoint that we can use to make our infographics engaging. Then we'll talk about the art of data visualization. And eventually we'll talk about tips and tricks to improve our PowerPoint infographics. But before we get into the actual content, I have a question for you. How confident are you in creating infographics? So from a scale of 0 to 5, with 0 being not comfortable at all and 5 being extremely comfortable, where would you put yourself on that scale? So you can type your message in the chat so I can see it. Oh, 0. Okay, I see a couple of zeros, a couple of 2s, a couple of 3s, a 6. Awesome. Okay. So we have people all over the scale. What my hope is that by the end of the infographic, you will have moved up 1 or 2 points. I hope that will be the case, and I hope you can find something useful to apply when creating your own infographics. So let's start by defining the word infographic. The formal definition is an infographic is a visual representation of information or data that uses images, symbols, charts, graphs, or diagrams to communicate a message or explain a concept. So let's simplify that. So infographic, think info for information, and graphic for graphics or something visual. So basically, it's just information presented in a visual way. That's basically what an infographic is. But why should we use infographics? What are the benefits? What reasons are there for using infographics? The first reason is simplicity. Infographics are really good at simplifying complex information and complex data, making it easy for your audience to grasp really complicated concepts. Infographics also are visual content, and visual content is highly engaging. So they have the ability to grab your audience attention and hold it, helping you to get your message across nicely and effectively. Next is memorability. People easily remember visual information. It's easier to remember visual information than it is to remember things like text or tables or things like that. So infographics can leave a lasting impression. Next, one of my favorites, it's a universal language. So because it's so graphic heavy, infographics can transcend language barriers. So they allow you to convey information to a global audience without having to rely on text. Infographics are also versatility. They can be used in so many different settings. It could be in education, it could be for business presentations, for marketing campaigns. If you ever need to relay any information, infographics are there for you. They're versatile and can be used in a wide range of circumstances. And finally, data storytelling. Looking at data, at numbers and statistics and text can be dry and boring, but infographics will take that data and tell a compelling story. So it will turn that dry data, dry, boring data into meaningful narratives. And you can get trends, you can get insights from all that complex and dry data. So infographics are great for those 6 reasons and more. So now that we've established why infographics are valuable, let's talk about the diverse world of infographic types. We'll talk about just a few. It's important to know the different types of infographics because knowing them or understanding the different styles will help you to choose the right infographic to convey your message effectively. So here are some common types of infographics, each with a unique purpose. The first type is the informational infographic. This is a plain and simple infographic. It uses icons and visuals to provide straightforward information. They're great for presenting facts and figures. So we have here an infographic that's showing us the benefits of drinking water. All it has is just numbers, facts, icons, just straightforward information, and it communicates that in an easy way. Next, we have a process infographic. These are great if you'd like to explain a step-by-step process. They guide your audience through a sequence of actions in a visual way. So these are also great too. My personal favorites are comparison infographics. These types of infographics, or this type of infographic, allows you to compare 2 things and highlight differences or similarities. And what they do is they use side-by-side visuals, icons, and graphics to do the comparison. And the comparison becomes clear when it's presented in this way. And the last type of infographic type we'll talk about today is the data-driven infographic. These are ideal for turning raw data into visual insights. And these use charts, graphs, and statistics to tell a data-driven story. So now that we know the different infographic types, let's talk about the key design tools that we use in PowerPoint to create infographics. So we have four. The first one is, excuse me, Smart Art. So Smart Art is a feature that allows you to create diagrams that illustrate relationships. The next one is Shapes. Shapes are basic geometric objects that allow you to create custom graphics or diagrams. Next, we have icons. Icons are symbols or tiny little pictures that represent concepts or objects. And lastly, we have charts. Charts are graphical representations of data that show things like trends or patterns using different chart types. So we have all sorts of chart types, and I'll show them to you in a couple of minutes. So let's see how we can use these tools, these four key design tools, to create some simple infographics in PowerPoint. But before we get to that, I have a question for you. Of the four design tools that we just mentioned, so Smart Art, Shapes, Icons, and Charts, which tool do you use most? Let me check. You can put your message in the chat. Charts, Smart Art. Oh, great. Charts, Smart Art, Shapes. Oh, Icons. Okay. Charts, Shapes. So we have a lot of shapes and a lot of charts. I think it's a tie. Okay, we also have a lot of smart arts too. I think it might be a tie between the smart art and the charts, then followed by shapes and icons. So we'll see how these can be used in creating infographics. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing my screen, just end my slideshow so I can show you how we use these tools in PowerPoint. So I'll stop my slideshow and reshare my whole screen. Great. So one of the easiest ways to create infographics in PowerPoint is to use Smart Art. Smart Art has many layouts and styles we can choose from, depending on the type and amount of information you want to present. So for example, let's say you want to create an infographic that shows the steps of a process. You can use a Smart Art to portray that. And to use Smart Art, you start by going to the Insert ribbon on your PowerPoint page and to the Illustrations group. So it's group number 5 from the left, and you will see the Smart Art icon there. So click on it. And when you click on it, you'll see a Choose a Smart Art Graphic dialog box. So this dialog box shows you the different categories of smart art that we have. So you need to select one that matches your purpose. So let's say we want to do a process. We want to display a process. We can select the process category. Then from one of these, we can select one smart art that we can use to show that. And once we're happy, we can click OK. And our smart art will be added to our slide. To edit the text in the smart art, it's as simple as just clicking on the placeholder and starting to type whatever you need to type, like that. Alternatively, you could use this arrow to the left. This opens up what is called a text pane and gives you some spaces to add the same text that you see on the smart art, but you can add it from here too. When you click on your smart art, you will see what is called a smart art. Okay, you will see what is called a smart art contextual tab, format contextual tab, and this will allow you to change the design and format of your smart art. So you can change things like the color. You can choose colors from your primary color palette in your theme, or you could do other colors. You could choose the format contextual tab to change not just the whole smart art, but a certain section of the smart art that you've chosen. And you can come here to change just the color of the one section of the smart art. You can do things like change the effect of that section, adding extra effects like shadows, reflection, glow, etc. There are all these tools on these two contextual tabs to help you to work with the smart art. So the smart art design contextual tab and the format contextual tab. I am using Microsoft 365. So if you have an earlier version, they might have different names, but they do the same thing. They might have a different, the tabs might have a different name, but they will give you the same tools. The next key design tool that we'll talk about is shapes. So shapes are geometric objects that we insert in an infographic in this case. Shapes are a little more flexible than smart art. You can play around with them and you can build up your infographic, or you can build up your diagrams using different shapes. So to use shapes, you go to the same ribbon, which is the insert ribbon. We go to the same group, which is the illustrations group, and you'll see the shapes icon right there. So if you click on it, you will see the shapes gallery, and you can choose from all these many different shapes that are available. So you need to decide what shape type matches your purpose. So for example, if you wanted to create a triangle, you would come here, excuse me, click on the triangle shape, and then use your mouse to draw your triangle. And there you go. Your shape will be in your infographic or in your slide. You can adjust the size of the shape by using these resize handles. They help you to resize the shape to your liking. If you'd like to be a little more specific about the sizing of your shape, you can go to the Shape Format Contextual tab. And the very last group is the size group. So that allows you to put in actual specific dimensions for your shape if you need that. But if you just want to play around with the size, you can use the resize handles for that. You can also change the shape of, no, not the shape, the fill or the color of your shape by going to shape styles. And the shape fill menu will provide you with all sorts of color options to choose from. And you can fill your shape with color. You can also add text to your shape, which is quite useful. All you need to do is right click on the shape, and on your right click menu, you should see a edit text option. You click on that and you'll be able to start adding text to your shape. That's it. That's how you insert shapes into Microsoft PowerPoint very quickly. Next is icons. Let's talk about icons. So we mentioned before that icons are symbols or pictograms or little pictures that we put into an infographic. And icons add some flair and personality to your infographic. They help you to convey a message visually. So let's say we want to create an infographic that shows features of a travel service. So let's do that. Let's insert an icon that shows something like that. And to insert an icon, we go to the insert menu once again and to the illustrations group once again. But this time we are looking for the icons icon, and we'll click on that. And you'll get a big gallery of icons to choose from. You can use these categories to look for the icons that you'd like. So for example, I'm looking for travel icons. I can just browse through these categories until I find what I'm looking for. Did I miss it? Let me keep searching. I'm looking for the travel section. Oh, there we go. So you can click on travel. And when you click on travel, you'll see all the icons that have to do with travel on your screen. If you don't have a category, if a category that you like is not appearing on these categories, you can use the search field. Type in a keyword and you'll find, you should find what you're looking for. So to insert an icon, you select it. I'll select this airplane icon here. Click on it and then click insert. Great, and we have an icon in our presentation or our infographic. So just like with the other design tools, icons are really easy to resize using these resize handles. But if we also need to be specific, we can go up to the graphics format contextual tab that appears when you insert an icon into PowerPoint. And you have the size group that allows you to either crop or adjust the height and width of the icon. You can also change the shape of the icon. You can change the fill and give it a different, so you can change the color. I keep saying shape. You can change the color of the icon and you can give it a different color from the black that it normally is. And you can add effects. So things like glow, soft edges, or a 3D rotation. So you can do really creative things with your icons in Microsoft PowerPoint. They're a really good tool to use for visualizations. Last, but certainly not least, we have charts. And charts are graphical representations of data. They show things like trends, patterns, and comparisons. And they can help you to present your data in a more meaningful and impactful way, as well as support any claims and arguments with evidence. So charts are really great at backing up whatever trends you get from your data. So to insert a chart into your PowerPoint slide or your infographic, we go back to the same ribbon, the insert ribbon, and we are in the same group, the illustrations group, and you will see a chart icon there. So click on the chart icon. And when you do that, you'll get an insert chart dialog box. This dialog box will show you all the different chart types there are in PowerPoint. So column charts, line charts, bar charts, radar surface, all sorts of chart types that are available in PowerPoint. Within each chart type, there are subtypes. So for example, with the column chart type, you get these subtypes. So you could do a clustered column, you could do a stacked column, you can even do 3D column charts. That's how versatile this chart visual is. So I'll just choose a simple clustered column chart and insert it into our slide. So once you insert a chart into your infographic or slide, you'll get a mini Excel window that opens up, and that is where you would put in all your data for your chart. So you could edit this little sample table that's in here, or you could do a copy and paste from Excel and copy and paste your table in here so that it shows your data for the chart. Once you're done, you can just close this and your chart will appear in your slide or your infographic. If you click on the chart, you'll see you get not one, but two contextual ribbons that come with charts. You get a chart design contextual ribbon and a format contextual ribbon. Chart design is helpful when you want to change the look and feel of your whole chart. So it will give you things like style options, layout options, color palette options, basically changing the look of your whole chart. But if you'd like to get granular and change just one section of your chart, then you can do that in the format ribbon. That's where you can select a section of your chart and make changes to that small section. So these two ribbons contain a lot of tools to help you when working with charts. This is just a short little description of charts. We actually offer a 6-hour course on how to use charts, show you all the chart tools, and improve your data visualizations. So it's a good thing to keep an eye out for. Great. So now I'll stop sharing. So I go back to my slideshow. Give me a minute. Okay. Now let's talk about data visualizations. Now that we have learned how to create infographics using different tools in PowerPoint, let's see how we can transform data from boring into compelling using the art of data visualization. Data visualization is the process of presenting data in a graphical or pictorial form that reveals insights, patterns, trends, relationships, etc., and that might otherwise be hidden or overlooked in a table or text. So let's see how we can do that. Let's talk about creating effective data visualizations. To create effective data visualizations, we need to follow some principles and best practices, and we'll discuss two today. The first one is choosing the right type of chart or graph for your data and purpose. And the second one will be using appropriate colors, fonts, or labels to enhance your visualizations. So let's look at some examples and see how we can apply these principles. One of the most important decisions you need to make when creating data visualizations and using charts is choosing the right type of chart for your data. Different types of charts have different strengths and weaknesses, and they can convey different meanings and messages with your data. For example, if you wanted to create a data visualization that shows the distribution of a category, you can use a bar chart, a donut chart, a pie chart for that. We have here two charts that are displaying the distribution of the world's population over different continents. Which chart would you say best visualizes that data? You can put your message or your answer in the chat. Which chart accurately? Yep, that's so true. Definitely the pie chart. Definitely the pie chart. So I hope this illustrates, yep, the pie chart for sure, for sure. I hope this illustrates that the wrong chart type could lead to misleading data validation. Sorry, misleading data visualization. On the right, this line chart is showing what looks like a trend, but we know this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for a distribution of a category. So it's imperative to use the right chart type to properly display your data. Good job, guys. Now we'll talk about using appropriate colors, fonts, labels, and titles. So these things, these elements, colors and fonts are elements that can enhance or detract from your visualization depending on how they're used. Let's talk about colors and let's talk about how colors can affect or what we should think about before using certain colors for our visualization or our infographic. First, we'll talk about relevance. So we need to choose colors that are relevant to the topic and the message that we want to convey. For example, if our infographic is about the environment, then it would be appropriate to use things like colors like green and blue for our infographic. But if we are doing a corporate presentation, so we're doing a company presentation, it might be more appropriate to use brand colors, your company brand colors for that infographic. Another thing to think about when it comes to colors is color psychology. Different colors evoke specific emotions or associations. So, for example, red may convey excitement or urgency, and blue can invoke calm and trust. So, it's something to think about. The color psychology is something to think about when choosing colors for your visualization. And lastly, at the end of your design process, you need to think about consistency. You need to maintain consistency in color choices throughout the whole infographic. So the good thing is to choose a limited color palette to begin with, and then just use the colors within that palette. And this will create a unified and streamlined, visually pleasing design. Now let's talk about fonts. So what things should we consider before choosing a font type for our visualization? The first and most important thing to think about is legibility. That's the most important factor to consider when choosing font. So our font could be decorative, it could be beautiful, it could be artistic, but if it's not legible, then it's useless because our audience will not be able to read it. So we need to opt for a clean and simple and easily readable font. Next, we need to think about contrast. So make sure that there is sufficient contrast between the text and the background of your infographic to enhance legibility. So dark text on a light background is a common choice, or you could do vice versa. Light text on a dark background. That creates a great contrast and makes fonts easily legible. Next, we'll talk about the font color. So the font color has to be in harmony with the overall color scheme. So it should fit into that limited color palette that we talked about. And this will ensure that there is an overall color scheme. Nothing is clashing. Everything is in harmony. And also we need to ensure that the font color has enough contrast. There's enough contrast between the font colors and the background colors. Great. So now let's talk about tips and tricks for better infographics. First, our infographic needs to tell a story. Every infographic should tell a story or convey a clear message. So you need to ask yourself before you start designing the infographic what you would like your audience to get at the end of it. So you could start with a captivating headline and then follow with a logical flow of information. And the visual elements that you choose will help to guide that narrative. Next thing to remember is to simplify the message. So infographics are supposed to simplify complex information by using graphics and a visual look. So keeping your message concise and focused will help your infographic to send the message to your audience, a simple message to your audience. Next is data labeling. So when dealing with data, we need to provide clear and concise labels for charts, graphs, any statistics that we have. We should avoid not labeling any data and leave our audience to guess what any numbers or charts are displaying. So it's good to consistently label all the data so everything is clear and concise. And lastly, using pre-built templates. So we need to take advantage of pre-built infographic templates that are available in PowerPoint. These can save you time and provide a professional starting point. And I'll show you a couple of those. I'll get out of this presentation just to show you the different templates that you can use in PowerPoint. So to see the templates, go to File and New. And on the New page, you'll see the templates that we have in PowerPoint, but there's a category of templates called Infographics. So if you click on Infographics, it will load all the infographic templates, and there's dozens of them that we can select and customize to our data and have a good starting point to save us a lot of the design work and a lot of time too. So there's more on the Microsoft website, more of these infographic templates. And they're not listed here, but you'll find more on the Microsoft website. So let me reshare. So now we will conclude by looking at a well-designed infographic. This is a great infographic that incorporates some of the principles we discussed today. First of all, it's a simple and self-explanatory infographic. It's showing us SMART goals, how to achieve SMART goals. It's using some of the key design elements that we discussed earlier, like smart art, shapes, and icons. The colors used here are not only bright and appealing, but they help to differentiate the key data points, and they also help to guide the narrative. And lastly, the font that was used for this infographic is legible, it's clean, and it's appropriate for this data. So it is quite possible to create visually appealing but informative infographics by following the principles we discussed today. So what did we talk about today? Well, we defined what an infographic was and a graphic way or a visual way to display information. We talked about the 4 key design tools that we find in PowerPoint: icons, shapes, smart art, and charts. Then we talked about the art of data visualization, so using colors and fonts to enhance your visualization. And lastly, we talked about the different tips and tricks for better PowerPoint infographics. And this is taking us to our question and answer session. So if you have a question, you can type it out in the chat. But in the meantime, I'd just like to show you the 6-hour course that details everything about infographics and the course that this webinar is based on. So I'll stop sharing once again and share my full screen so I can show you on our website. So this is our beautiful newly designed website. If you'd like to get to the course I was talking about, you can do so by going to the courses section that opens our full courses menu, and you should look for PowerPoint under the Microsoft section and click on PowerPoint. This will take you to the page where all our PowerPoint courses are listed. So the course that this webinar was based on is this one: Creating Visual Infographics with Microsoft PowerPoint. It's a 6-hour course, and we have a class on December 1. So that's in a couple of weeks' time. We also have a couple of PowerPoint courses. We have a basic PowerPoint course and then an advanced PowerPoint course. And one of my favorites, this is a combination of a technical course and a soft skills course, or a professional skills course. Become a great presenter with Microsoft PowerPoint and presentation skills. This is a great way to learn how to become a great presenter, and also use PowerPoint to assist you in presenting your data in front of a crowd. We also have a couple of free resources I'd like to show you. If you go to our free resources section and you go to downloads, you'll see something that I think you'll find quite useful. We have some free downloads available, and I wanted to highlight these best PowerPoint shortcuts downloads. These are free. You can click on them, download them, and then use them for yourself and your work. And under free resources is where we have our webinars list. So you will see the upcoming webinars. The next one is a practical guide to Power BI. Power BI is a program that works with data visualization. So if you want to get really deep in data visualizations, I suggest you sign up for this webinar. It'll be a great webinar to attend for sure. I'll definitely be there. Excuse me. And we have a Power Automate webinar in February. So automation is the big thing these days. So you can attend this webinar to see how you can use Power Automate. Microsoft Power Automate, which is a great tool. So just look out for these two webinars and you can register for those two, and that will help you get a reminder when the webinars are approaching. Great. So now let's look at our questions in the chat. Thoughts on creating a predominantly photo slideshow for your event? What to do, what not to do? That's a great question, Margaret. Oh, no, sorry, it's Diana. So if it's a slideshow for an event, I think it's wise to go graphic heavy because PowerPoint is it's a predominantly graphic program. So less text, excuse me, less things like tables and so forth, and more graphics because graphics are able to keep your audience engaged for much longer. So I would go predominantly I would do a predominantly of a graphic heavy slideshow for an event. Is okay, highlighting or getting people to focus on specific information on any specific slide. Do you recommend changing font, bold, italic, or other, or adding infographics or other? Okay. So if it's an infographic, you could choose, you don't have to choose one font type. So you could choose to bold, as you've mentioned, your font type, or you could choose two that pair very nicely together. There's font types that work well together. And you can do some research to see which font types work well together, and you could bold or italicize the font type that will highlight the specific information. I think that would be a good way to do that. For the SMART goal slide, what type of infographic was used? Smart art shapes so it was a combination of all those. So I can include that in the handout and send it to you for the specific actual design elements that were used for that infographic. Is this available only in Microsoft 365? I'm not sure what you're referring to, George. Is that the icons or? But I will say that some of the features will only be available in MS3. Oh, I think you're talking about the templates. No, templates are available. Okay, yes, everybody gets a copy of the handout at the end of the webinar, so you should get it. So templates are available in every version of Microsoft PowerPoint. But what I need to check is if only the infographic templates are available in MS365. So that's a good question. And maybe we can include that in the handout as well. I'll give you the specific versions that carry the infographic templates too. And maybe also add in a link to the Microsoft, the templates are the infographic templates on the Microsoft website in case your version doesn't carry them. What tips do you have for an assistant creating PowerPoint presentation of dry company data? I would say, you're welcome. I would say use as many of the key design tools as possible. So the charts are your best friend when it comes to doing data visualizations to make things more appealing, to show things like trends, to show forecasts. So if you have a lot of dry company data, I would say use a lot of charts. I mentioned before that we have a whole course on charts. It's a 6-hour course. It would be worth it to learn how to use different chart types because there's so many chart types to choose from. And there's so many ways to customize those charts to make beautiful presentations of your data and beautiful data visualizations and bring your data to life. So that would be nice to do. So just try working on using more charts for your dry company data. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions, guys? You're welcome, Minette. Okay, if there are no further questions, I'd like to say thank you for coming for this and attending this webinar. You're welcome, Diane. Oh, it's Dana, sorry. You're welcome, Dana. Thank you. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. And I'll send you all that information in the handout after the webinar. Thanks and have a great day. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close off the room.